One piece of advice I followed that almost everyone laughed at completely changed my life. When I was in my early 20s, I had just secured my first stable job at a growing tech company. For the first time, I felt financially independent. Not long after, I qualified for financing on a brand new luxury sedan. To me, it felt like proof that I had finally made it. Most people around my age were doing the same thing. Expensive European cars, large monthly payments, and social media photos showing success. It seemed normal. But during a family barbecue, my uncle quietly gave me advice that sounded ridiculous at the time. He said, instead of buying a new car, start buying old muscle cars and restore them. They are disappearing fast. One day, they will be worth far more than anything rolling off a dealership lot today. My uncle was never someone who talked just to hear himself speak. He spent most weekends working in his garage on vintage vehicles, so I listened. He pulled back a dusty cover and showed me an old worn-out muscle car that honestly looked beyond saving. Then he told me he had purchased it decades earlier for only a few $1,000s and had recently sold it for over 6 figures. He explained something simple that stuck with me. New cars lose value the moment you drive them home. Classic machines, when chosen carefully, often move in the opposite direction. That conversation stayed in my head for weeks. Eventually, I made a decision that shocked everyone around me. I canceled my luxury car loan and started searching for older vehicles I could afford to restore myself. Within a couple of months, I bought 3 neglected classics from the late 1960s. None of them ran properly. One would not start. Another needed a full engine rebuild. And the third looked like it had been abandoned for years. My driveway suddenly looked more like a repair yard than a home. My parents worried. Neighbors complained. Friends thought I had completely lost perspective. Whenever we met, they proudly showed off advanced features in their new cars, while joking about my rust-covered projects. There were moments when I doubted myself, especially when parking beside their spotless luxury vehicles. Still, I remembered my uncle's success and kept going. For the next several years, nearly all my free time was spent learning. I studied engine rebuilding, body repair, welding, painting, and restoration techniques. Weekends disappeared inside the garage. While others were dealing with heavy car payments, I was slowly building skills and understanding what collectors truly valued. Over time, patterns started to appear. Certain models were becoming extremely rare, especially those with original parts or uncommon factory options. The cars I had chosen were not random after all. They happened to be versions enthusiasts were actively searching for. Then the market shifted. Interest in classic muscle cars surged as collectors began chasing vehicles connected to nostalgia and automotive history. Auction prices climbed rapidly, and restored examples began selling for remarkable amounts. I sold my first restored car for many times what I originally invested. Instead of spending the profit, I reinvested everything into acquiring more vintage vehicles. A few years later, the returns allowed me to purchase a small warehouse and officially launch a restoration business. Today, I manage dozens of classic cars in different stages of restoration, working with collectors who value craftsmanship and history rather than trends. Many of my old friends are still making payments on cars that continue to depreciate each year. Some even struggled financially when unexpected job changes happened. Meanwhile, the vehicles I once bought cheaply continue to grow in value. What sounded like terrible advice at 22 turned out to be one of the smartest decisions I ever made. There will always be newer cars, faster technology, and shinier designs. But true rarity only increases with time. Sometimes the opportunity everyone laughs at is the one worth paying attention to.